Hey Brent, so first thing I did was import this file, and I see that it's all pink and blue. So that tells me, of course, I think you created a little relief here of some type, but that's not really the image of what you're trying to have here. So um, basically, I'm pretty sure this is, I know this isn't going to work unless you were just going to take the parts that you have there and make your own relief, and that's basically what I did here. Is I went to the side view of this. I went to the side view of this part and kind of went here and selected this, and I went to the side view here, and I basically just went through here and got a profile, and then I did a sweep to rails. Now this is not going to be the same thing as going to be in what they provide you, but it'll give me something to work with for this example. So to get a mesh with sweep to rails, I'm going to hit produce mesh, which is down here. I have a few slices and stacks. Here's the first rail, here's the second rail, and here's my sweep sections, and I want to see this green line the second time I click to see that it's going all the way here. And when I hit OK, then I get a mesh object. And let's see here. If I let's just check the height here. I think this is 4 inches tall, and my mesh is 3 inches tall. So I think there's something I'm missing here on my mesh relief that is part of yours. So obviously my shape is not going to work for you, but I'll just use this to do an example of how this is going to work. So you need to get this version as a mesh STL that you can then import and do these things with. So the first thing you have to do is create a relief. And if you happen to have the outlines here, and we do, so let's come here and let's make a closed shape here. I'm going to come and go to join contours. I know I have a rail here and a rail here that were closed open contours before, and now it's a closed shape. All right, let's turn off all layers here. I'm going to go to Control X, paste this to the active layer. X, this layer now, paste the active layer. Okay, so now we have this shape. Here's the profile I used. I'm going to merge this into a closed shape. So I have now sitting right on top of the plate at 0, I have this outline of a part. If you have this shape, you don't have to do a slice then. You can just use this shape to produce your relief. So I'm going to come in here and do a flat, no thickness relief. I'll probably bump this up to 100. And now I'm going to say, show me the other layer. And I can see that my relief, my mesh is sitting right on top of 0 and right where it needs to be applied. If for some reason it was down here, it would look the same from the top view, but nothing's going to happen here. You have to have your relief, you have to have your mesh object relative to your relief so that when you add it, it's going to add what's above your relief base foundation. So now we're going to go here to the transform menu, and with our mesh and our 2D outline selected, we're going to hit apply mesh from the surface menu. I'm just going to do beveled. I'm going to hit add and apply. I'll probably have them pretty quickly. Now I can always tell if I see them occupying the same space at the same time. If for whatever reason you wanted to not use those contours, which I can't imagine why you wouldn't, but I mean, I can't imagine what the advantage to that would be, but there might be some reason for whatever. Then you could just come here and make a flat relief. You can select your mesh and your flat relief and apply one to the other. And there you have your relief. Now you'd have to come here and go to surface, extract slice. You have select the slice you want to, the relief you want to slice, which is right there, and you hit your green check mark. I don't even worry about the thickness at this point, and then I can get rid of that one. So here's two ways that we have the same shape, more or less. All right, now if I want to break this in part, then I have to come here, and again, it might be helpful just to have the same contour. So I'm going to say Control C I'm going to paste this to the active layer and get rid of the relief. Now I'm going to come to the welding toolbar button and go to the cut by line tool. I have snapped the grid check. So now I've just cut this piece in two. I'm not really paying attention to what's what in terms of size. You'll be able to do that, but here's this relief. So I now have two separate contours here that are the same shape basically as we had before. I'm going to apply a relief to both of these. They're two separate objects that look like the other one. Now I'm going to go to merge reliefs. It says select the base relief, so we're going to go right here. Now I'm going to turn on my other layer. It says select the relief you want to add, and it's going to be right at the same spot. Go all the way around there. We're going to hit add. All right, I did something wrong there, so let's try this again. We're going to go to merge reliefs, select the base relief, which is going to be right here. Next button, the one you want to add. I guess what we're going to have to do is just move this one out of the way a little bit. I'm going to say Control X. No, so this is in layer 1, this is parametrics layer, and that's in the edges layer. So now let's try this. That's still going to be a problem, so I'm just going to scoot this over here for now. Alright, so now let's come here, merge reliefs, base relief, the one I want to add, which is now here. Now I know I have the right one, and I hit add and check mark. So now I've applied that whole relief to just that one I created that was based upon a partial shape. Okay, now I kind of did this, and I need to move this part back to this other spot. So let's turn this one off so we could see the midpoints. And now with this relief selected, I'm going to go to move, copies turned off, endpoint snap is turned on, and I'm just going to use that to move that back into place, and then zoom in and make sure it's good. And that looks good. So now I'm going to take this one and move that out of the way. So now we have this flat one, and I want to merge this other relief onto this flat one. So I'm going to go to merge reliefs. Here's my base relief. Turn on all layers. Here's my outer shape. I'm going to hit add and hit the green check mark. And now I've got those two shapes as separate reliefs. So we can turn this all on here, and I'll move this out of the way. Now you can come here and bring this one back, go to move, contours, grab that outermost one, move it back over here, and you can see they would line up again if you needed them to. Okay, so now we're going to take this one, Control X. I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to paste this to the active layer. Now when it comes time to slicing this, all right, so I'm going to go to Surface, Extract Slices. I can't remember what you said you want the relief slices to be. Hold on. Okay, so your layer is going to be 1.25 inches thick, I think. So I'm going to say, here's the relief we want to slice. Thickness is going to be 1.25, and that's going to require 3 slices for this object. It could be however many. Now I can create the current slice or create all slices. I'm going to create all 3 slices. All right, so now I'm just going to move these out of the way there. Actually, I just wanted to move that. Hit Control Z a few times. I'm going to save this one, but I just made a copy by accident, so I'm going to get rid of that. All right, so here's my same relief broken up into 3 layers. And the thing about this is you don't want to spend too much time cutting something that's just flat surface here. So what I tend to do is this one you're going to cut the whole thing. because it's just that whole thing is a surface, and you're going to cut it out, and you don't need to do anything with this. But I'm going to make a copy here, and I'm going to come to this too and align this, and I'm going to use this copy, and I don't want this as a relief anymore. I want it as a 2D shape, right? So I'm going to use this one, and I'm just going to come and align it a little bit here. All right. So I can come here and I have this one. Now I'm going to come here and do an inline on this. And we're going to do, say, a 1-inch inline. That's a little too big. Let's go to 0.5. Still a little more than we need. How about 0.375? All right. There we go. So this is one that gives us an inside shape here that will help us get rid of a lot of this flat space. So I'm going to hit apply to that one. I don't really need that original one anymore. So let's get rid of that. Now I'm going to make a copy here, Control C, go to this other layer, and delete this relief. Create a little outline on this. Doesn't want to create an outline, so when something like that happens, I'll come here and do a cleanup. Get rid of a few points there. And now my outline should work all right. Still not outlining. All right, that's as clean as it's going to get. Now let's try it. Still doesn't want to outline. It's a bit odd. So let's just make it a little bit bigger then. All right, so I just kind of cheated it and made a copy and made it a little bit bigger. I'm not 100% sure why that didn't outline. I probably have to go in and play around with the geometry a little bit, and I don't have time for that. So now, now I have a couple things I could do. I could just keep my relief whole and just toolpath these other areas, these thinner areas. But if you really want to create a solid, if I wanted to create a solid piece, then I would just toolpath these and use the whole piece. If I want to create something that's hollow, then I'm going to take this part and this part, blue and red, create a flat, no thickness relief. Now I want to come here and go to merge reliefs and click this outer one as the base relief. Click the inner one as the one I want to merge and add, and hit this shape. Now I could actually get rid of this other one. Oops. Looks like somehow that didn't add. Let's go ahead and make sure they're at the proper location. Okay, that one's at 0. Part itself. I'm going to highlight the front view here. Oh, okay, so that slice was not down to 0. So we're going to go here and go to the alignment tools and say put that down at 0. All right. Now let's try this one again. Merge reliefs. Here's the base relief. Here's the one I want to add to the base relief. Check mark. Now if I did my job right, I should be able to delete that one and have this other piece as a hollow piece. All right, and yeah, there was some funky stuff going on with one of these geometries, but let's go here and look at this thing. This is a messed up part, so I'm going to get rid of that thing for now. Let's go to F2. That's why it wouldn't offset, right? Should have given me a indication. So I'm going to hit 0 here and OK. So all I did is flatten this part out. This one here is already flat. So let's align these. Do another cleanup just to get rid of any unnecessary points. All right, so now I have a good shape here. I lost my middle slice, so this is the kind of thing you have to do sometimes. And if there's anything I'm showing you here, I mean, I'm flying through this stuff in part because I don't have much time, but there's a lot going on here. So this is an ambitious project. You're just kind of getting the hang of some of these things, but you know, sometimes that's the way to learn something. Jump into the fire. So thickness 1.25. It's going to give me 3 slices. 3 8/0 slices. Check mark. Middle. Okay, this is the one that we are in the selection. That's the middle piece here. So that's the one that's we want to work on. Again, let's take these two and group them. That way when we align everything, it should more or less align to how we want it. So, okay, so that looks a little different than the last one, but not quite sure what happened there. Looks like this time the slices are a little bit different than the last time. So maybe I did something a little different here, but that's all right. I'm now going to take this part, delete this relief. And since this is just all a bit too confusing with all this stuff here, so I'm just going to hit Control X, start a new file, and paste everything here. All right, so now we kind of have a little cleaner area. You have this shape, which would be on top of the other shape. That's just a 2D geometry. So this one we're right on top of here. That's going to create the first 2 layers of this part. All right, or the bottom of this overall shape. So I'm going to just cut this one out as is, and just cut it out as a relief. That's the top thickness of it. This copy I just made, I'm deleting that relief. Okay, I think that's what this one was, but I'm just getting rid of it. All right, I'm going to move this part to 0. I'm going to move this part down to 0. Looks like I achieved none of that. Actually, I want them all to be the same Z depth. And now we're going to move these all to 0. We're going to move these to the plate 0, 0, just to kind of get a better reference point here. And I'll just leave the selection. Okay, so here's the shape that is going to be one of the contours that I'm going to use to not have to spend too much time cutting flat spots. I'm just moving this one up a little bit. Now I should now be able to come here, take this one and do a little bit of an inline just to make sure that we're covering everything there. I'm going to get rid of this outer shape. And I'm going to take this one, Control C, make another layer, paste this to the active layer, delete the relief, and do an outline. And this time the outline works. Close. I can get rid of that shape. I'm going to take this one, Control X, right click, paste active layer. This is going to be a relief that is going to be hollow. Right? So I hit close there. Now I'm going to say merge reliefs. Here's my base relief. Here's the relief I want to add with the base relief. Add, green check mark, turn off all layers, and I should have that 3D part, and I still have those crazy lines there that we're going to get rid of real quick. Come here. You know, when you're working on things that are thicker than and you do certain things with them, you might end up with a situation like this. It's really easy to flatten this out, just to come to the precision input center, uncheck proportional, and tell it your Z thickness is 0. That just brings everything back down. And I'm going to do a quick cleanup because there's probably a few unnecessary points as a result of that previous up and down motion. Now I'll come here and create my relief once again. Merge reliefs. Select the base relief. Select the relief I want to add to the base relief. Green check mark. Turn off all layers. And finally, after a fair amount of making some errors there as I figured this out, we have a section of the relief, and that section is section that says 1.01 inch thick. So somehow I didn't have 1.25 as my relief thickness. It looks like I had all three of these be 1.03. So that's why that is what it is. But nonetheless, I mean, you determine your slice thickness when you do the slicing, and that will work. So here we would have this part, and then this part, and you can see actually if I want to trim away the excess here, now I would do the slicing again. Surface, extract slices from here, and check mark. All right, so I should be able to cut this one out, and then do a cutout on it, and then take this one and put it right on top of there, and it looks like, you know, that's where that little extra thickness will help, because you would need to be able to have some kind of a, so I accidentally deleted my reliefs there. You'd have some kind of overlap there so that you'll have something for this one to rest on. As it is, my overlap area is pretty small, which, you know, will make it lighter, but possibly not as strong. So when it comes time to do that inline, you might want to give it a little extra thickness there. That is the same thickness as the relief, and that way you would have a little bit more of a shelf there for it to rest on. But as is, it would still work, and it would be pretty light and hollow. So you would have to do this same process for the bottom one, where you would use the slice above it and the same slice as the relief to create the inline outline, and then have a relief to build up. So this will give you pretty much of the overview of the tools you'll need to do this. But you know, it's going to be a fairly complicated job, but nonetheless one that would be easy and get easier the more you get into it and do the same process over and over.